Yeah, I did 26 million in sales. Okay, top at my agency, top in the entire Mansfield MLS board. I beat some teams in terms of like what multiple people did as a team together. Like we said, I had a great year from a sales standpoint, but I had one of the worst years ever from a happiness standpoint, right?
Hey everybody, welcome back to an episode of The Why, presented by All American Roof Pros and All American Heart Studios. I'm your host, Dylan Mullins, and today I am sitting down with someone that I'm sure that you have probably seen on social media because this kid is freaking everywhere. And I call him a kid because that's what he is, man. He is a kid, but he's a hustler and everything that, I'm all about. And that's Mr. John Pavlansky. Did I say your name right?
You got, dude. You hit it right on the head, brother. Let's go.
I love it. I try to do good with that shit, and usually I ask off camera, like, hey, man, how do you say your name? Like, some folks will sit down, and I won't know their name, and I'll be like,
oh, shit.
Hey, before, But anyways, man, why don't you give me your elevator pitch? Like, I know a little bit about you, but we've never really met in person, so
yeah,
this is all new.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, no.
So tell me about who you are.
Yeah, so as you said, definitely a kid in the real estate game. I mean, definitely compared to other agents, right? So been in real estate. This is going on my 4th year right now. Went to Madison. Was a graduate at Madison in 2018, which, God, man, it seems like it was yesterday, but now
7 years ago, man.
It's becoming farther and farther.
You're about to have a 10-year anniversary already.
Don't say it out loud, man.
I graduated in 12, dude. Trust me.
Oh my gosh,
it flies.
It does. I mean, they say years go in fives after you get out of high school, and that is true.
It just keeps going faster, man.
It does.
It's like a snowball rolling down the hill.
It does, man. It really is. But yeah, no. I mean, in terms of that, I've been in the business for 4 years. Before I got into real estate, was doing debt collection. So I did debt collection for a little over 2 years. I did everything from collecting and calling people and collecting debt to managing the collectors to doing sales and calling other hospital systems and doctors' offices, dentists' offices, the whole nine. Gosh, it taught me a ton. I'm sure we'll dive into it. But before that, I did a year of college and at OSU at Mansfield here. Quickly realized that wasn't the route, and the debt collection, then right into real estate. So elevator pitch, that's what it is, man. Born and raised here, Mansfield, Ohio, Madison kid, and just trying to keep it rolling here locally, man. So
I love it, man. I love it. And I love, for me, Mansfield gets a bad rap sometimes. And granted, our industry is not what it used to be. You and I really don't even know what Mansfield was when it was a Titan.
1,000%.
But that all being said, like there's so many great people here too, man.
There's so much opportunity too, especially if you're born and raised here. I hear so many high school kids tell me, oh, I can't wait.
I got to get out of Mansfield.
I got to get out of Mansfield. Right when I graduate, I'm going to Florida or I'm going to, wherever. And it's like, why? Why? You can build off what you have here already, connections that you've made. Maybe you don't even know it, but you've made over the 18 years of your life while you graduate in high school. You have all these connections. You have all these people that you already know.
You've got a system already, man.
Exactly. Why the hell would you go somewhere else where you don't know anybody?
It makes no sense to me, man. It doesn't. But that all being said, man, I do want to touch on the debt collection thing because you were probably my least favorite person because about the time you were collecting debt, I had a shit ton. So you probably called my phone a couple times. But how do you think that helped you in the real estate game? Because I know. Yeah. I think I do anyways. Yeah. But I want to know your perspective.
Dude, I tell people this all the time. If you want sales training, go collect debt. Go collect debt is the best sales training you could ever have. And just so everybody knows out there, the name was John Parker. So it wasn't Pavlansky. You had to have an alias. It was John Parker. Yeah, so if John Parker gave you a call, if you had a voicemail from John Parker, that was me. That's me. Awesome. I'm sorry, I got to admit
I didn't realize y'all had aliases out there.
Oh yeah. And I kept the first name, got a new last name, but yeah, no, I started at debt collection. It was at Debt Recovery Solutions. Do you know, you graduated in 12, so you're probably right around Kyler Huss's age, right?
Yep.
So he worked there with us. His grandmother was the owner of it. But Bethany Robertson was the one kind of really running the show when I was there. Kathy was kind of starting to get out of the business a little bit. And Bethany, first of all, I mean, just from a standpoint of a mentorship, she changed my outlook on everything. She says it all the time, but she's like, you came into me as a punk and you left a man.
Hey, she owns it, man.
Yes, but it's true, dude. I was still trying to party and, you know, figure out what girl I was going to hopefully hang out with that night when I started there, man. You know what I mean? I had no priorities, didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't in college yet even. I was just kind of out on a whim. I'm like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing. I'll go collect debt for a little bit.
Exactly.
But started there, and for 9 months I did collections, where it's calling just essentially cold calling people. You're on the dialer, you sit there.
That's what I was gonna say. You're selling something to somebody they don't want.
Exactly.
I mean, legitimately.
Exactly, man. Exactly. You're selling something to somebody that they don't want, and immediately, I mean, not even just that, but immediately, or they answer the phone, you say, "Hi, is this is this Dylan? No. Yeah, this is him. Okay, yeah. Hey, this is John with Debt Recovery Solutions. I just have to let you know this is a communication from a debt collector. Anything you say or can be monitored and recorded, blah, blah, blah." Instantly negative.
Or hanging up.
Or F you son of a bitch, you know what I mean? Whatever it is, But instantly it's a negative outlook. So not only do you have to get them to like you on the phone without seeing you or knowing who you are or having any kind of face-to-face communication, but also then you have to say, okay, I need you to verify the last 4 of your social. I'm not giving you my social. All right, well, how about a date of birth? I'm not giving you my date of birth. What about a middle initial?
Yeah, give me something.
Yes, okay, all right, perfect. You get in, you start talking to them, you tell them what debt they owe, and then they're going to make a fuss about that. Okay, then you got to get through that objection. Okay, listen, I understand that, it must have fell through the cracks. They did send it to our office. They sent you 3 letters on these 3 dates. Now it's in our office. I understand it's an issue, but let me help you find a solution here, okay? You can't pay the full amount. What if we split this in half and do half?
You're selling.
Yes.
You're getting met with objections, and you're having to handle. And honestly, it's worse than a cold call.
Yeah.
It's an ice cold call. Like it is. It is like the call that nobody wants.
Yes.
Like when you're. Do you guys do any cold calling in the real estate game right now?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Those are at least somewhat tepid.
Yes. At least they're a little bit warm, right?
They're at least going to hear you out.
Yeah. You are calling somebody right out of the blue. They're probably at work, middle of the day. Well, if they're working, they're probably at work, middle of the day, and they don't want to hear from you, nor do they want to pay you. So you have to convince them not only that, hey, it's a benefit for you to pay me so you can get loans so it doesn't screw your credit up, et cetera, but also, okay, give me your card over the phone now, too, to a random man who just asked you for your social 5 minutes ago, right?
Exactly.
So it was an incredible challenge, but man, I in the first, I want to say 4 or 5 months I was there, I had our top collector month. You know what I mean? So I just learned a little bit of a tool from it. When I first got there, a lot of the collectors that were there, it was very aggressive. It was very, very aggressive when you were on the phone with people, and I took it from a different approach. Hey, I understand. I get it.
Yeah.
Let me help find a solution for you. And our rule was you don't want to go over 2-year payment plan. I was running 5-6-year payment plans. That's what they can do.
Yeah.
Let's get some money rather than sending them to litigation and screwing everything up for them,
because it's just going to drag it out longer and make a bigger mess for everybody and make a more disdained taste. Because so the debt collection game, because you were in there for a while, to my understanding, they're buying the debt, right?
Most of them do. So we just worked for our clients essentially in this case. So we did not buy our debt, which was a good objection because people would tell you on the phone, pissed off, I'm not paying you. You bought the debt. You're stuck with it. And it was well, actually, we didn't. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So we will sue you. I don't want to sue you, pretty much. So most of them do, but we did not in that case scenario. But you had to collect it. We got a percentage on whatever we collected.
Get a kickback or whatever.
We worked with Avita. We worked with Samaritan out in Ashland. So we worked with some huge hospital systems. But yeah, man, the best sales training you could ever have. If you can get somebody to pay you a debt over the phone when they don't have it, they don't want to pay it to you, and it may build that relationship and build that common ground with somebody, man, you can sell anything.
Yeah, you're selling ice to an Eskimo, right?
You literally.
Yeah. It is. It's kind of like a lot of the kids, and I think they still do it. When I was in college, they would go to do Cutco.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And sell them knives over the phone. That's not a tangible thing. They can't see it. They can't feel it. It makes a ton of sense. For good sales training. It doesn't make a ton of sense on the sales side.
Right.
I'm not out here doing a demo. I'm not being Vince from Slapchop. I'm not showing you how the knives work. And you're selling them something that's not tangible. There's no they're not getting shit. They're not getting shit in the mail.
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing going on in their house. That's cool though, man. It makes sense though how it built you. But something you said that I want to really pull a string at. And I really want to know, we're getting deep early. I really want to know, so you said, within a month, you were the top guy?
It was 4 or 5 months.
Okay.
Give myself a little bit of leeway
but
here.
Still, I mean, that's impressive. What what's the driving force? Like, why? Why did you want to be that guy? Because I'm assuming there are probably a lot of folks that work there, and I'm not knocking them because they may end up watching this episode. Like, by all means, I'll tell my daughter, I have a little 8-month-old. I'll tell my daughter when she grows up, like, she wants to work at McDonald's, be the best freaking burger flipper. I don't care what you do, how you do it. Like, take care of your shit, stay in your lane, all that good stuff. But I understand a lot like you. Like, I want to be the best.
Yeah.
What made that? Why?
I think at that point too, to be honest with you, it was almost like a confidence boost. It was almost like, okay, this is my first professional setting, right? You know, I worked like Kroger at the service desk and stuff before that. So it was like my first like professional setting. And it was almost kind of like, okay, how much can you do? Like, let's see what you're made of, right? Let's see what you can do. So then it would kind of became, a competition. But also, they did a good job there at DRS of throwing the numbers on the board every day.
Oh, yeah.
How much you're collecting daily, how much you have for the totals on the month. And there was one collector, and I love her to death now. I mean, we've got a great relationship. Her name was Tammy, but she was a killer, man. I mean, her back was hurting because how much she was carrying this team, man. And I was like, you know what? I want to beat Tammy. I want to have at least 1 month where I beat Tammy and collect more money than her just because I wanted to like prove myself I could do it, right? Right before I started, or actually no, when I was working there, actually I was still with that girl, but it did help me because I always tell people like one of the biggest just like turning points of my life was a relationship that went south and got in the gym just like any other guy, and then you start to see, oh, if I put my mind to something, holy shit, I can accomplish anything. If I just put my mind to it, stay determined, stay focused, I can do anything. And the gym was something that provided that. But almost debt collection was something before then, right?
Because you're getting fulfillment from it.
Yeah.
Because you're accomplishing something, right? Mm-hmm. And there's so many people out there that you go back to those folks that are, I'm getting out of Mansfield, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And I'm a big believer in Christ. I'm a huge Christ follower. And I believe that God does everything for us, not to us.
Yeah.
So being stuck in Mansfield, being thrown into a job as a debt collector, that's happening for you.
Yeah.
But there's so many folks that they're like, you know what? It happened. I'm going to sulk about it. I'm going to act like it's the worst thing in the world. Mm-hmm. There are doers and there are don't-ers in the world.
1,000%, baby, 1,000%. And it's funny too because I go to Madison every year and talk to the kids about, and it's typically about real estate, but it's also just like, hey guys, don't listen to everybody else. You don't have to go to college. You don't have to do this route. You can do a million different things. Again, just set your mind to it. You're 17, 18 years old. Do it now.
Find something you're freaking passionate about.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, yep. And Braxton Daniel said it on our podcast one day. He said, find a passion that pays.
Yes.
And I will never forget that. Find something you love to do on a daily basis that's going to make you money.
Yeah, man, there's so much.
I know.
How old are you? 23?
24.
Okay, I was close. But for you as a 24-year-old man, there's so much that I'm seeing that's even a reflection of myself now. Like, I wasn't even at the level that you're at 24, which is great. And I talk to a lot of younger men. I mentor a lot of younger men, and I talk to them about that. I'm like, dude, you're further than I was.
Yeah.
Like, stop judging where you're at.
Yes.
Stop worrying about where someone else is.
Social media kills that though, man.
Yes.
You know, too. I mean, it just, you go on, you see this fancy thing, you see these 18-year-olds that are making millions of dollars.
Or it looks like they are.
Yeah, it looks like they are, exactly. You know,
they're renting the house. It's Dan Blazarian, right?
Yeah, 1,000%. They're renting the house, they're renting the cars, they're showing the yachts just so they can look cool to everybody else. And the kids that actually are putting in the work, it's like, it's deterring them from getting to that level. And also, I mean, from that same aspect with social media, what's most important? And I already know just from the outside looking in, like, you are a family man, and at the end of the day, like, the yachts, the cars, who gives a shit at the end of the day?
When's the last time you saw a hearse followed by a Brinks truck? I mean, seriously.
Yep.
Like, and I talk about that all the time. No one is going to get up and speak at your funeral about what you bought.
No.
They're going to speak on what you did. And there's so many people that are so worried about this shit that we have in the world, because that's all it is, man. It's all shit. Yep. It's all existed since the beginning of time. Like, yeah, cool. We figured out a way to make an electric car. We figured out a way to make a truck. Like, I get that, and we need those things.
Right.
But stop worrying about worldly possessions. Stop worrying about all this junk, because that's what it is, man. You're not going to get out of life alive. Ain't nobody done it yet. They ain't figured out how to do it, you know. But you find something you're passionate about. I'm doing a weave like Trump right now. No. You find something you're passionate about, though. You know, there are so many kids. So I go and speak to a lot of high school kids too. Mm-hmm. And I probably actually never get invited back to a couple schools because of my exact word was, if your brain's telling you not to go to college and someone from the exterior is, do not.
Yeah.
Like, trust me, go find, like I'm saying the same things. Go find something you're passionate about, do that, but do it with common sense, right? You can be passionate about books, but when's the last time you've been to a library?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Don't go be a librarian. Don't go find something you can be a productive member of society, sell real estate. And there's so many passions inside of career fields that you can find.
1,000%.
Right?
Yeah.
Sales, you could sell anything, dude.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
You just happen to pick real estate.
Right. Well, and the thing about it, too, like, you don't necessarily have to be passionate about the project, right? I'm not necessarily super passionate about houses, okay? I'm not passionate about, okay, how the structure is built and this and that, but I am passionate about putting somebody in their first house and seeing the excitement, seeing the smiles, seeing the thankfulness, the gratefulness at the closing table. Like, that's where the passion comes from, right? The houses are just the vehicle to get there.
It's all a vehicle.
To helping somebody and making an impact in the community and building that up. And even, it's sometimes funny too, because even like, sometimes like I don't want to say notoriety, but like, oh dude, you're killing it, you're doing great. It's like, thanks man, but like, that's not, at the end of the day, that's not fulfilling. At the end of the day, like, fulfilling is just helping people and doing it on a daily basis and really not even getting anything back in return, right?
Well, and the best salesmen in the world aren't selling things.
And I was going to say that. I don't see myself as a salesman. I don't.
You're a solution provider.
Exactly. And I'm not selling somebody a house. I'm not going in the house and trying to
Especially
sell
in this market. Like, let's just be honest. Let's call a spade, man.
Yes.
They're overbidding like a mofo. I mean,
Right.
it just is what it is. But the thing is like the best salesmen in the world are selling joy.
Yeah.
Who has sold more hamburgers than anyone else in the world?
McDonald's, man.
Yeah. You ever had a McDonald's hamburger?
Yeah.
It's not. It's consistent.
Yeah.
I'll give them that much.
Yeah.
It's consistent. It's consistently screwed up. But they're not selling hamburgers.
No.
They're selling joy.
Yep.
Their fucking mascot's a clown. Like, what the hell does that have to do with a hamburger?
Exactly.
That's Ed Milet talking. I don't want to take his thunder, but like when I heard him say that, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
But that's like, if you take your business and stop saying, okay, let's use the debt recovery, because that I think is a little bit harder to pin that on.
Right.
But you're selling joy. When you're finding a solution for this person on something that they thought they couldn't get out of, they're in this hole, and you're giving them a ladder.
Yeah.
That's all you're doing.
Exactly.
And yeah, the thing may have been, let's not go past 2 years. That may have been the sentiment in the office.
Yep.
However, if the ladder needs to be a little bit longer to get them out of the hole,
We're doing it.
yes, because you're selling them joy.
Yep.
They're seeing light at the end of the tunnel. They're finding a solution.
Yeah.
It's much easier to frame that in home sales and roofing. Because, yes, I'm providing a solution to a problem, as are you.
Yeah.
And we're giving these things. We're getting them into a nicer house, a smaller house, whatever that checks that box and brings them joy.
Yeah. Yeah. And the great thing about that too, man, when you bring the joy, that is somebody that is always going to use you.
Yes.
That is somebody that's always going to trust you. Same thing with debt collection. Once you bring that joy, the next time they get a call from a collector, they're not going to be an asshole to them because they realize, oh, this guy's not calling me to be an asshole. He's calling me to help me.
Yes.
At the same time, right?
Yes.
And same thing with real estate. Same thing with sales in general. If you stop freaking selling people and trying to make that commission check and having that, people can smell it, man. When somebody's got that commission breath, you can fucking smell it.
It's called desperate.
Yes.
Nobody wants to buy from a place of desperation.
No. You want somebody that is truly there to help you in any kind of sales. They want what's best for you. And if you're a salesman out there, if you're out there selling, that's what you should want. Because that's how you're going to get more deals. That's how you're eventually, on a long-term scale, how you're going to be more successful by just helping people.
Do you think that changed in a post-COVID atmosphere?
A little bit.
Because the reason why I say that, and it's way post-COVID or pre-COVID, but the Wolf of Wall Street, right? And that high pressure, but they were selling joy. Like if you really look at it, they were selling these dreams that were pipe dreams, and that's why Belfort went to prison, right? But they were still selling joy and all that. But they were also more high pressure.
Yeah.
And we've moved into a world where you've seen the high pressure folks go away.
Yeah.
And now we're selling from a place of compassion.
Yeah.
Like for us here, we sell roofing, but we're not a roofing company. We're a people company that happens to do roofing. It's our vehicle.
Exactly.
Right? And I'm sure you guys probably take the same approach to Dream
1,000%.
Huge. You're a people company that happens to do real estate. You're in the business of making transactions between people. And you just happen to bring them a little bit of joy along the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So post-COVID, do you think that changed for the marketplace? Because you were in sales in a pre- and post-COVID atmosphere, right?
Sure, yeah. I don't know necessarily if it was post-COVID, but I do think that changed a little bit. And I think we as Americans almost learned compassion a little bit during the COVID times, right? Okay, nobody has to pay rent for this time period. We're starting to give checks. It almost opened our eyes up to what the possibilities really are, right? Of how quickly shit can change, and that we don't have our life isn't as normal as we take it for granted every day, right?
Yes.
So that actually, yeah, no, I think it did change from that perspective of being more compassionate with people and giving people more of a benefit of the doubt, rather than, again, being that aggressive person of, hey, no, we got to get this done. Hey, we got to get this done. Hey, no, this is the one you should buy, or this is how much you should pay on your debt, whatever it is. I do think that changed a little bit, and I don't necessarily know if COVID was what caused it, but I do see where you're saying it. It gives you. We almost got more compassionate.
Yeah, we built some compassion. I think people took a big step back and went that it can all go away in a second.
Yep.
Type of thing. You saw a mass exodus of the older population that were on either past the age of retirement and they were just working for X, Y, and Z, or that were close to the age of retirement that said, I'm not doing this anymore. You saw this mass exodus of the workforce, which we're currently dealing with right now, not to get super political, but it's just a fact. Like, we have a lack of labor in this country. But you did see people slow down.
Oh, yeah.
I guess is what I'm trying to say. And
the world stopped for a minute, man.
It did. And they were stuck at home. They couldn't go on vacation. It was great to be in freaking my business.
Yeah.
So home services sales, people started looking at their shit. They're like, man, I should probably. And the honey-do list got way too long for the husbands. And it was great for us. Like, I'm not knocking it. And I mean, you know what it did to the home market.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we saw a massive influx there. But deeper than that, like, it just changed the perspective.
It changed everything, man. It changed how we think. I mean,
Yes.
it changed even us doing this podcast. Not to say that they weren't already getting big or big at the time, but everybody was at home. They started watching podcasts more. I had somebody call me about radio ads the other day, and it was like, I looked at my assistant and I was like, when's the last time you listened to the radio? Like, I don't even know, because it's all streaming. It's just the constant change, but it really opened up a lot of opportunity for change with Zoom and having meetings whenever you want, wherever you want, with whoever you want. I mean, just all the different avenues that were already there. But again, we took it for granted for so long, it opened our eyes up a bit. And just like anything else, man, I think when we take things for granted, we start to live a different life. Just like when we lose a loved one that we haven't seen in 3, 5, 6 months. You know what I mean? It's like, gosh, what have I need to look in the mirror. Like, what am I doing, right?
And the bitch's hindsight's always 20/20.
Exactly.
And that's always it's hard to not live with regret.
Yep.
But you can't. That's the catch-22 on that.
Yeah.
So what was the dream when we went to college? What were you going for?
Oh, there was no dream. There was just.
You didn't even have a freaking declared major yet?
No. It was business administration all the way. You know what I mean? Just like every other kid, it's like, I want to be a businessman. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do though. It's just like, I'm going to go into business. And do I tell this guy? I've told this story 1,000 times, but I freaking love it because it's like just to me the true epitome of what college is. I was working at the debt collection agency at the time. I moved into management at this time, so I was only a collector for 9 or so months. Then I managed all the collectors, which again was a new stone in itself, because we're talking 50, 60-year-old men and women who have been doing it for 10,
weird
15,
relationships.
20-year-old boss, man.
Yeah.
20-year-old boss who's been doing it for 9 months telling you what to do. I got some fuck yous, I got some middle fingers, I got some John shut ups, and it was like, but by the time I left, I'm friends with all.
You learned how to be a leader.
Exactly, 1,000%. Shit, see, I'm doing this swirl thing too, where I'm losing myself as well.
You're good, man.
Where were we just called at? Where was I going with that a second ago?
Talking about the college major story.
Okay, college. Yep. Okay, got it. So I was talking to my advisor. Okay, and I was considering dropping out of college. I remember I talked to Bethany. Came into Bethany the morning of, and I had this whole notebook wrote down, like slapped it on her desk. I'm like, Bethany, here are my pros and cons to dropping out of college or staying in. And she looked through them, and we talked about them and everything. And she's like, I think you need to have a conversation with your advisor. So I went down in our conference room, called my advisor, and I'm sitting in our conference room, and I'm telling her, I'm like, listen, I think I'm going to drop out. I think I'm going to go and start my real estate classes, and I think I'm going to start, investing my money a little bit in the stock market. And I was like, I just don't know necessarily if this is providing me what I thought, and really don't know what I want to do yet. She's like, John, let me ask you a question. Do you think you're going to make $40,000 to $50,000 in the next 3 years and work in the field that you're majoring in, business administration? And I sat there in the back of our conference room at DRS and said, well, I'm a manager at this collection agency after a year. I'm making $40,000 a year. You just made my decision 10 times easier. Like, you just made it so much easier. Yeah, I'm dropping out of college. Because in a year of just working my ass off and just going to work every day and doing the right things and saying the right things and being a good person, a truly good person, I got there. Rather than 3 years of textbooks, 3 more years of textbooks and PowerPoints and
40 grand
presentation, essays, 40, tons and tons of money in debt. Like,
that's not tangible debt.
Exactly.
You don't have, it's unsecured.
Yep.
They're going to repo your brain.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, man. And that's what I tell, like, I hear all these kids are like, I want to go be a business major. I'm like, give me $100,000 and ride around with me for a year.
Yeah.
I'll get you a master's in business administration, because I have a degree, but it's not in business. It's in mathematics education, right? And yes, there are things from my education degree that I do use today.
Right.
And luckily I was able to do it online. I think I still hold a record at Western Governors University for the most credit, because I was a hustler at the time, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to bust these things out. Because, at the branch, it's like 10 credit hours max a semester, whatever the hell it is.
Right.
Well, they're like, hey, we'll sign you up for 12 credit hours max, or 14, whatever it was. But as you finish courses, you can pick up other courses. I think I did like 42 in a freaking semester. Because I'm just like, and those semesters ran for 6 months.
Yeah.
So I'm just like hammering these gen ed courses out. Because I was going for an engineering degree at the branch. So I had like most of my mathematics done, but I still had to take like some lower level stuff.
Right.
So I'm just like freaking powering through these things. And I just don't, I think the sentiment of the parent has changed.
I think so too.
For the better.
I think so too.
So that's good.
Yep.
But like more so probably for me than it was for you. And maybe I'm wrong. My parents were like, you're going to college. You're going to do this. Because they were still stuck in their parents' attitude.
Right.
And I'm not saying, like, dude, I don't want somebody wrenching on my heart as a doctor who never went to medical school.
1,000%.
Who was freaking wrenching on a car the day before. There are things that require you to get some form of higher education. But for a general business degree, most of it can be learned in the field.
Yep. Even your corporate jobs. I mean, where do you think you start? You get that 4-year degree, where do you think you start in the corporate world? You don't start.
You still start at the bottom of the totem pole.
You still start at the bottom. You still got to work yourself up. You know what I mean? And granted, your 4-year degree gets you that requirement needed to work there, right? But sometimes.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready. Like, so my stepdad's pretty. He's getting ready to move up, but he's been trying to move up for a long time. But he's like one step below executive vice president at a Fortune 500.
Right.
I asked him. I said, dude, when's the last time you looked at a resume? He goes, I don't. It's like, when's the last time you asked somebody where they went to college? He's like, I don't care. Like, I'm the same way. You send your shit to me. Like, I've got questionnaires that I'm worried about. Don't get me wrong. Like, submit a resume if I ask you to, because it's a freaking requirement, right? But other than that, like, I don't. And I think the most of the world's that way.
Right.
They don't really, like, care. Even, and I should probably watch how I say this, but I don't think most folks care if you have a freaking high school diploma.
Yeah. No, seriously. And at the end of the day, if you work hard, work your ass off, you do the right things, you're a good person.
What does it matter?
Exactly. That's like
it's a piece of paper that says you did good.
Yeah, like, you did good. You're a good test taker.
Yeah, you're a great test taker, and you know what? You paid a lot of money for this thing.
Yep.
Right? Or you got a scholarship, like, by all means.
Right.
But outside of that, man, like, I think it's so frustrating for people in the world today, and the eyes are starting to open, right?
Yeah.
And we're seeing the way the world works. But it's even worse, and you probably didn't get deep enough in your business degree, but when you're sitting down with somebody who has never done it, they're teaching you on it, and all they've done is read out of a book, and they've never been a practitioner. I'm not saying that all colleges are that way,
right?
Because there are colleges that require the professors, but there's a fair bit of freaking people out there that never actually did what you were going to school for.
Yeah.
So why the hell are you learning from them?
Yeah.
Because all you're doing is getting a piece of paper that says, "Oh, I know how to take a test."
Yeah.
You know?
No, 1,000%. And I love what you said. Like, hey, you want a degree? Come ride around with me for 3 months, and I will show
Odds
you.
are I'll probably let you do it for free.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Seriously. And I've had some kids shadow me on the real estate side, and it's like you're going to get so much more value out of that and just listening to people have real world conversations than you are watching damn PowerPoints, reading a textbook, looking at a whiteboard. Like, in my opinion, again, I mean, that's for me. Like, that's how I learn better. I could sit and listen to, and I did at the debt collection agency too. I could sit and listen to people have 10 debt collection conversations, and I'd be like, okay, I think I'm ready. I can go talk to somebody. I think I can do it.
And some people have the aptitude.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too that frustrates me about our school system is the fact that do you follow John Maxwell at all?
A little bit.
Okay, get into him, man. Especially if you're looking for leadership. Mind-blowing stuff. Love him. But he talks about sending our ducks to Eagle School. You know what happens when you send a duck to Eagle School? He fails every time. Like, we are basing... I actually just had a former teacher sitting in that chair a couple weeks ago. And I was talking about that. And I said, like, why the hell are we giving this blanket test to these kids and expecting them to go out and be able to do it? That's why so many of these kids end up on an IEP, a WEP, or these special programs, and they don't really need it. All they need to do is be taught or test taken a different way. Because they know it.
Yeah.
They just may not comprehend it. There are 5. I think there are 5. There are different ways that people learn. Right? You're an auditory.
Yeah.
You can hear it. Maybe you're a little bit visual. A little bit of both. Like we have a combination.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm an auditory and visual too. Like, I can watch somebody do something and be like YouTube is my best friend. I'm trying to do something, dude. I'll pull up YouTube. Right? Hear them talk through it, and I'll be good. So auditory, visual. Some people can just read it and figure it out. They can pull out a manual and they're good to go. And then kinesthetic, so they have to actually physically, you have to show them how to do it. And there's a 5th one, but it must not be that important. But if we think about it, like, how are instruction manuals written for, you go buy a piece of furniture at IKEA.
Yeah.
Well, they have a picture. They have words.
Yep.
There's probably an installation video somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
The only one you can't get is kinesthetic.
Yeah.
Like, the big 3 are covered because that's how most people learn.
Yeah.
Why aren't we testing these kids that way? Instead of going, hey, man, here's this piece of paper, fill out the bubbles, and good luck.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, because it's easier.
Well, it's easier, and it creates a system that's easily tracked. And that's part of the reason I don't think that, you've heard the statistics that America's stupider than Japan or China or whatever. Maybe these guys are freaking testing their kids different.
Yeah.
Maybe they are.
Seriously. No, 1,000%.
Have we had that conversation? You know what I mean?
Right. Somebody get on the phone, man.
Yes.
Somebody get on the phone.
Let me call up Vance. We got him in my... But yeah, it's asinine, man.
Yeah.
And we're putting these kids down before they even... That's why those kids want to leave Mansfield.
And that's the biggest thing too. Is like you're giving them these tests where kids may not learn that way. Kids' brains may not be wired that way. You're giving them these specific tests for everybody across the board. They see other people succeeding at it. They're failing at it. Not only is that hurting their grades and their ability to go to college or get a job then post school, but also it's their confidence.
He deflated their ego.
Yeah, and then they don't give a shit anymore. Then they don't want to care about it anymore. And a lot of the most successful business, and too, most of my entrepreneurs, a lot of their stories revolve around, I was terrible in school. Yep. I didn't do good in school because I didn't want to. I had it there. I didn't want to. I didn't want to do all that stuff.
Some of the smartest people I know are high school dropouts.
1,000%.
I don't even, like, it's a blanket statement and say they're lazy. They're not. Mm-mm. They were just freaking smart. Yeah, like, dude, smart. I'm not doing this shit.
Too smart. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, man. And I think that's just so, like, aggravating about our current education system. And we're getting better. You see, like Madison has, and they've had it for a long time, their VOTEC. I remember freaking when I was in kindergarten going over there, or first grade or something, going over and being able to see them, or they brought them over and explained to us auto and stuff. So there's that, right? But outside of that, and Mansfield's getting better. Mansfield has a big CTE program.
Yep.
The bigger thing is, man, we need more tradespeople in this country. We need more people willing to go out and freaking do the dirty work.
Yeah, I just had a kid in one of the classes that I talked to at Madison, and he was in the business class, which I was like, maybe. But he was in the business class, and I was asking some people, what do you guys want to do after high school? Tell me what you guys want to do. I'm curious. And one of them said, I want to be a plumber, and it was like. I didn't say it out loud, but I'm he's the smartest one in the room.
Yes.
He is the smartest one in the room. And he's not at Pioneer taking a plumbing class or anything, which, you could, either way, but he's in the business class.
Yes.
He's trying to learn the business aspect, so then he can learn.
He's 5 steps ahead. He's playing chess, not checkers.
He's 5 steps ahead, and I was like, that is the smartest kid in class, and he's probably going to be the one that's going to be most successful because he's doing something that everybody else is not. He's not saying, I need to roll with the sheep. He's going against the grain and doing something that he knows, and he truly knows, I'm going to be successful at this.
And the thing is like, me being a successful entrepreneur, you being a successful real estate agent, like, we're not the smartest people.
No.
We just do the shit nobody else does.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. 100%. Because it's all about differentiation in the world. People want to appreciate different. They gravitate towards it, right? And I tell people all the time, like, I'm so thankful that I am the abnormal as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
And don't get me wrong, like, there are plenty of people that have the want but not the drive, and there's two different things, right? But we need people in the workforce. Yep. Entrepreneurs need people. You have an assistant. I'm sure you'll pretty soon you'll have some guys working underneath you.
Oh yeah.
Like, you'll have that whole entrepreneurial system. You need those people that aren't willing to be like, hey, I want to go do this, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. But those people that step a little bit outside the box or color outside the lines, they're not following the system, like that kid you're talking about. Young man, if you're listening, man, come in my office, hang out for a couple days. I'll teach you everything you want to know about business. I can't teach you shit about plumbing. But but on that note though, like, he's going to have some plumbing company pay for his apprenticeship. He's going to get paid the entire time he's doing his apprenticeship. He's going to go out and get his plumber's license. And then he's going to be able to go out in the world and have real life applicate for the rest of his life.
Yep.
That nobody can take away from him.
Yep.
How valuable is that?
It's crazy, man. And that's what I do love, like you said, about Madison. You got the Kehoe Center out in Shelby. You got Pioneer. We've got Mansfield doing some things like. That's where we should be pushing the kids instead of, hey, what AP English class are you going to take this semester or next year? Like, who gives a shit?
Yes.
Let's push them towards the trades that not only we need as a country, but also is going to make them more successful as a human being.
Yes.
Right?
Productive members of society.
Yeah.
There's enough librarians. Odds are there'll probably be 0 in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
You go get an art history degree. I'm proud of you. Congratulations. Pat on the back, whatever the hell you want. But what the fuck are you going to do with that?
Yeah.
I'm happy you have something you're passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. I'm very proud of you for finding something you're passionate about. But like you said, there has to be a direct correlation between what you're passionate about and what makes you money.
Yes. Because at the end of the day, we all want to be in business to help folks. We all want to be in business to, do something for ourselves, be determined, but also we're not doing this. We're not doing it free. We want to make some money. That's
Yes.
what I love about what Braxton said too. Is find a passion that pays.
Yes.
Listen, I am passionate as ever about sports. I couldn't find something for me that fucking paid. I'm passionate as ever about music. I'm not going to be a rapper. I can't sing, and I surely can't make beats. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm going to find a passion that pays, where I can help people on a daily basis. I'm passionate about it, and it pays. So I absolutely love that, dude. And I wish there was more kids that went into the career techs too, because a lot of them look at it and kind of laugh. Like, even when he said, I'm going to be a plumber, like, you heard a couple chuckles and giggles, and it's like, oh, he's going to play with shit. You know what I mean? But
I tell you what, them shit players, they make a lot of friggin' dough. And drive nice trucks, and they live a good life.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
But, and you're exactly right. Like, even when I was in school, you're going to the career center. Like, now, looking at it, hell, go to the career center for a year and try out electrical, and then be like, you know what, man, same for me.
Yep.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You checked a freaking box.
Yep.
You went, because you talk about finding a passion that pays. Okay, there are 1,000 other passions that you may have or you think you have that just aren't for you.
Right.
They still pay you.
Yeah.
But are you going to go home and be happy every night?
Yeah. That's the beauty of being young again too, man. When you're making these decisions, and hopefully if any kids are out there listening too, like, hopefully you can hear this, right? Because that is the goal. I was just talking to a young girl in the gym the other day. Her and her boyfriend, we all kind of talked in the gym and stuff, and she was in there by herself the other day, and I asked her, like, what are you doing after school? After high school, what are you doing? She's like, I'm going to the military, and was asking her more questions and stuff like that. And she's like, I'm so scared. I'm scared to do this. I'm scared to do that. And I'm like, listen, why are you scared? You're freaking, how old are you? She's like, I'm 17, about to be 18. I was like, you have all the room all in the world to make mistakes. I had another kid that from Madison that was saying, I want to be an auto tech. I want to work on cars. I want to be a mechanic. But I'm going to college to get my business administration degree. So why in the fuck are you going to college, man? Do it. Do it now. Do it now while you're 18. You have the ability to mess up 5 times.
Well, Gary Vee says it best, baby. Screw up before you're 30.
Yes.
You can screw it up as many times as you want before you're 30, and you will be okay. I am a walking example of that. I walked away from my first business with $300,000 in unsecured debt that I had nothing to show for on how I was going to pay that back. Talk about those guys coming and calling me. Dude, my phone fucking burn up. But I figured out a way. I tell you what, that was the best college I ever had.
Right.
Because I learned what not to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And in the moment, yeah, dude, there were suicidal thoughts. There was dark feelings. There was, like, that all came with it. I don't wish that upon my worst enemy. But once again, another Dr. John Maxwell quote. You want to do what I do, but you don't want to do what I did. Right? So you have to go through those things to get to where you are, and everything we do becomes who we are.
Yep.
And so that all being said, like, screw your life up. Don't do it as bad as I did.
Right.
But go try something out. What's the worst that's going to happen? You don't like it? Okay. Big whoop.
Yeah.
You can go back to college in your 30s.
And at the end of the day, the biggest win you can have on a daily basis is opening your eyes up and breathing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? At the end of the day,
It's a gift.
Exactly. What is the worst that can happen? You know, even if I'm in the worst situation ever financially, in relationships, etc., I still have the gift of life where I am awake, I am breathing, I'm living.
I'm
right?
good.
Yes. That's all. That's realistically all you need. Granted, that's saying it from a bold standpoint, but and exactly what you said, you came out on top of it. How many lessons you learned through there? Yes. You never have a loss, man. You never have a loss.
You don't. You're learning or you're winning. Those are 2 options that you have.
Yep.
But that's a perspective thing. If you choose to call it a loss,
and it's a loss.
Good for you.
Yep.
Good for you. You're going to have a miserable life. Everything is going to be happening to you. The world is, I go get a flat tire tomorrow, right? Well, actually, I got a perfect story. So I was driving out 13. I live in Norwalk. I work here in Mansfield. I was driving out 13. This was a week before my wedding, 2022. So it was December 4th of 2022. I remember it very vividly.
I like you threw that in. The wife will like that.
Yes. Well, I had to remember it was on a Friday. I got married on a Saturday. We got married on the 12th. So, I screwed up. We got married
cut that out.
Cut that out, Ian. No, we got married on the 10th, so it technically would have been on the 3rd. I always screwed up because it's like 12 and 10s. Maybe I'm dyslexic. I don't know. Anyway, so I ended up being late for work. I don't remember what exactly happened. Something transpired to where I was going to be late for my meetings. And it wasn't like a big late. It was just a couple minutes. And I'm driving down 13, and I was just on the other side of the Richland County line, and a little car, came left to center, hit the car in front of me head on. It was a little Jeep Cherokee. The car that hit was like a Chevy Trax, like a tiny thing. Hit that car head on, flipped that car 4 times. I watched it roll 4 times. And I'm like, oh, crap. Like, what the hell just happened?
Right.
I get out, I go over, and I can hear the people in that car screaming. I'm like, well, these people are not okay,
right,
but they're awake.
Yeah.
They're alert. And I'm worried about this young lady in this car. I didn't know she was a young lady at the time, obviously, but I'm like, I'm going to go figure out what the hell's going on there. I think I had called 911 in the interim, and I sprint to this car, and this lady is in there, and we got her out, and she was upside down at the time. She ends up crawling out through the driver's side window, and the only injury she had was a scratch on her pinky, like literally.
Yeah.
And there's a squad shows up. I'm locked in, can't move. Now I'm extra late, right?
Right.
And I'm not a late guy. I don't do late well. But I'm stuck. I'm in the middle of this accident. I had to give a police report, all that good stuff. I think at one point a lady came up. She's like, there's always, and if you're listening, ma'am, I promise I'm not like making funny. But if you ever have witnessed a scene, there's always someone there. I'm a nurse. I don't know why the hell it's always, I don't know if that's godsend or somebody just claiming that they're a freaking nurse. I'm a nurse. There was these people ended up climbing out through the window. They're laying on the ground. Our dog's in the car. Our dog's in the car. This lady comes up to me. She's like, I'm a nurse. You need to go check on that dog. I was like, why are you giving me but I'm like, okay. I go to open the door. Dog starts like trying to attack me. I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'd say all of that life could have happened to me that morning. I could have been late, or I could have made it on time. And honestly, I drive a big truck. Yeah. I would have probably killed those people, like in perspective. And I asked the state patrolman, I said, what would have happened if they would have hit me? Because they probably wouldn't have made it, because I would have probably just crushed them.
Yeah.
So in that moment, God was stopping me for some reason. Don't know why. Right. Ended up having a conversation with a young man who was getting married that day, who lived across the street. Like, just all, like, there's no such thing as coincidence in life.
No.
And, you know, our life was entirely written out for us before our existence. We knew God knew exactly what was going to happen, when it was going to happen, how it was going to happen. But if you continue to take the perspective on life and your mindset that, okay, I was late, that sucks, now I'm stuck in this accident. Not, hey, I was on time and I could have hit that person and killed them, or I could have got jacked up. Whatever. You don't know.
Yeah, it's all perspective, man.
But it all happens for you. Stop being the person in your life, and I know you're not this person, but there's somebody out there listening that's letting life happen to them today.
Yeah.
They're getting fired. They're getting reprimanded. They're losing a girlfriend.
Right.
You sound like you have a similar story to I. So thankful I didn't marry the girl that I was supposed to. She's definitely not listening, so I don't give a rat's ass. But like, all that happens to put you where you're going to go.
1,000%.
And that's just a small little detail.
Yep.
You know, you going to the debt collections agency, you dropping out of college, you going to college.
Yeah.
Because you now have a story to tell for other kids like, hey, dude, like your heart's telling you don't go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you could also have said, man, I'm stuck with this debt. This is stupid. Like, okay. Yeah.
It's all about perspective and what you bring out of it, man. I mean, at the end of the day, exactly what we said, and there is no loss that doesn't turn into a lesson for us, right? And that's how it should be for people in general, because, I mean, you win every day. You win every single day, even when you have massive losses, and man, I've took some bad losses too. I mean, exactly, you said 300,000, like I've took some $50,000, $100,000 losses where it's like, holy shit, what was I thinking? Why did I do that? But I'm not going to let it happen again.
Exactly.
Right? I'm not going to let it happen again. And say anything. And it's so hard to take that perspective. And I'm glad that you shared that too, because it's so hard to take that perspective in the moment sometimes.
Absolutely.
It's so hard to take the perspective of when I'm getting 10 phone calls and 20 text messages. God, I'm so busy right now. Holy shit. God, you get to this person, it's like, hey, you wanted to be busy, right? Why are you complaining about it?
God will give you exactly what you pray for.
Yeah, yes.
You got to be careful with them prayers.
Very true.
You say, hey, man, I want to be successful. Well, with success comes a lot of shit.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
But you have to show gratitude in those moments. You have to, and it is. It's hard. Even at the point in my career where I've been doing this brand for 6 years now, and I've gone through a lot.
Yeah.
But it is hard to be thankful in the moment. You know, where you go and you're probably were you the number one sellingest?
Yep.
Okay. But you were, right? But in that moment, like, I got a lot I want to talk about off that. Let me finish my thought.
Yeah.
Though. In that moment, though, like, it's hard to be grateful. You're looking for the next thing.
Yeah.
Now I got to move the bar higher.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard here. We have some record-breaking years that people would dream for. Heck, I would have probably killed somebody for last year, and it was one of the worst years by a lot of measures that we've ever had. But I would have killed somebody in 2020 for that.
Yeah.
No doubt. No question. Put them in front of me. You know, and you have to let it not change with your success.
Yep.
Continue to have that same perspective. Move the bar, set the temperature up in the room, move it, but don't let it change who you are.
And it's a blessing and a curse at the same time, right? We just talked about it off camera a little bit before we started. I did 26 million in sales. Okay, top of my agency, top of the entire Mansfield MLS board. I beat some teams in terms of like what multiple people did as a team together. Awesome. That's an awesome accolade to have, man. And I'm so grateful for it. Like, I don't want to mistake for how grateful I am and how hard I worked, how grateful I am for the people that trusted me and allowed me to help them, but also, like we said, I had a great year from a sales standpoint, but I had one of the worst years ever from a happiness standpoint, right? I worked 24/7. I didn't see my girlfriend unless I was crawling into bed when she was already been sleeping for 40 minutes, right? Or an hour or 2 hours. I hardly seen my mom. You know, I lost my grandmother. We went through so much loss last year where it just went by me, right?
Did you bury it?
Yeah, 1,000%. 1,000%. Yeah, man, because that's...
Why do you think that is?
Because I had a phone call to make, and I had a showing to go to, and I had a listing appointment to go to.
Because you felt busy. You couldn't feel the hurt.
Yep. 1,000%.
Absolutely.
1,000%, man. And it's like this year, and I just told you my goals, right? And people kind of look at me funny when I tell them that. Hey, you did 26 million last year. Why is your goal 20 million this year? Well, because 20 million is going to allow me to spend more time with people that I love and make more of an impact.
Well, and that's the thing is like, I shoot not to even like speak what we do here
Right.
on the wrong ears because of that reason. Why aren't you getting more? Why? And it comes back to the fact of like they don't know. Like, so there was a sermon in church talking about how like when we want to lead someone to Christ, you have to get on their level. And oftentimes folks on the outside, and we talk about that in the business relationship standpoint, they just see the number. They see the vanity. They don't see the sanity. And when your sanity's not there and you have to change the vanity number to move that, it's okay.
Right.
But for me, as somebody that's kind of been in those shoes, I get it.
Yeah.
You know, I've had to take some steps back from selling here that I didn't necessarily want to do.
Right.
But I needed to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once again, man, like those valuable relationships, like, sure, you're providing great service to homeowners.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of you for that.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
But I'm going to promise you, all right, and I hope you get another 70 years, bro. But I'm going to promise you whenever that time comes, that it's the end, there's probably not going to be a single homeowner that stands up at your funeral and says, John was a great guy.
Right.
They probably thought you were a great guy, but they're not standing up at your funeral. They're not the person that's checking that box. But the people that are important in our life that we need to be spending time with, they are.
They are.
And too often we get caught, you know, as successful people where we're like, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that.
Don't have time.
Yeah. I don't have time. I use these shitty excuses because that's what they are.
Yeah, they are.
You know, I tell people all the time, like, you have nothing special because guess what? Everybody's got shit and it all stinks. Like, it's okay. Oh, man. I don't have time. Nobody has time.
Nobody has time. Nobody has
But
time.
Elon Musk is worth $500 billion. Dude has the same 24 hours that you do. What the hell are you doing?
Exactly.
If that's your goal.
Yeah, yeah. And some people are to that point. Some people are to that point where they don't give a shit. They want to be the absolute, massively, wildly successful. They want to be the best. And granted, I want to be, I want to be financially free. I want to have freedom from my time and my finances and be able to spend the time with the people that I love. But also, I want to do it while I can still too, at the same time. I don't want to break my, and it's funny too, you see videos on, about motivation and things on Instagram and just all these different sites too. And I seen one video and it was like, what would you have back? You own multi-million-dollar companies. What would you have back? And it's like, my time. I would take some of that back to be able to spend it with those that I love and enjoy that time rather than just drown yourself in work 24/7.
Well, and what does success look like to John?
What does success look like to me, man? Success to me looks like waking up and saying, what are we doing today? You know what I mean? And granted, I'm young and I know I still got a lot of years of grinding before that becomes. But for me, like true success to me is, honey, kids, what are we doing today?
Absolutely. Where
I can pick and choose what I do with my time, what I do with my finances, and I don't have to live by boundaries because I don't have the time to do that. I don't have the money to do that. Being able to be truly free from my finances and my time to where I can do what I want when I want and also spend it with the people that I want. That's what true success looks like to me. It doesn't look like the yacht and the Lamborghini. I will drive that same Honda Accord until the fucking wheels fall off, man. You know what I mean? And it's funny too because me and my girlfriend are kind of starting to think about buying a house right now, and I'm still hesitant on the situation. And not that I don't have, I've got 13 properties.
Just have reservations.
Yes. Well, and for the last 3 years, we've lived in duplexes and triplexes. Buy a duplex, live in it for a year, buy another one, live in it for a year, buy a triplex, live in it for a year. And it's like, I don't need this big fancy house. I don't need this big fancy car.
Minimal.
Yeah, I don't need it to feel successful or to feel, fulfilled, right? I just want to be able to spend the time with the people that I love. That's, for me, what true success looks like and feels like.
Yeah, but I'm just like you. So I had a baby this year, and my wife, before the baby was here, we bought a place in last November. And I was cool living in the 2-bedroom duplex we were living in. It was a great situation. Mm-hmm. She's like, we need our own place. I'm like, we can bring that baby home here. I don't see what's your problem. But unfortunately, when we enter into what becomes one in a relationship,
right,
man, there's other people involved.
Oh, yeah.
And part of our fulfillment as entrepreneurs and driven people is to make them fulfilled too.
Yeah. Oh,
and that's what's hard.
Yes.
Because you're like, well, we don't need this. Like, I got a nice house.
Right.
I like my house. Mm-hmm. but I'd be cool living in a cardboard box if it freaking gave me what I needed.
If I had heat and lights, man, I'm good.
I don't even know if I need heat most nights. But yeah, no, and that's the thing. Like the creature comforts, if you're comfortable with living without those, like it does like give you this freedom that most folks don't want to talk about.
1,000%, and it's tough, man. It's incredibly tough, especially when you get to a point of it's so hard to say no. And I'm sure you're the same way, dude. It is so hard for me to tell people no because I want to. I don't want to tell you no. Like I want to help, yeah, I do, but I've made a promise to myself and made a promise to my family that at 8 p.m. at night I got to turn my phone off, man. I got to separate myself when I'm out and having dinner at my weekly dinners with my mom. Like I don't want to have a phone call with you about real estate. It can wait a little bit.
Yes.
When I'm out having a date night with my girlfriend, and granted, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I've still been known to sneak them in here and there, but like most of the things, it's like it can wait. You know, this is more important than that. And I don't want a listener to take it the wrong way, but it is. You know, like this is what's important to me, and if you can't understand that, then
we're probably not a good fit.
That's cool. We're probably not a good fit. Yep.
Yeah, firing customers is my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I
love it. Firing the client.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, and the funny thing about it too is like most customers don't feel like you can fire them.
Yeah, they feel like they have the upper hand.
No, why? And I tell people a lot of times with this new NAR settlement, I don't know how much you've heard about it with real estate.
We actually talked about it with somebody on here.
Yeah, like a new settlement, you have to sign a buyer broker agreement with people and stuff like that too. And a lot of the times when I tell people like, hey, we got to sign this agreement to go see the house, like I just tell them, let's sign it for one day to start. I don't know you, you don't know me. I may not like you. You may not like me. You may walk out of that place and say, that John guy is a dickhead. I do not want to work with him.
Exactly.
I may get in my car and say, I don't want to work with these people.
They're just going to be a pain in my ass.
Exactly. So, but, and that kind of always, like, you can kind of see it, like, well, you can pick not to work. Yeah, dude. And it makes them appreciate it.
In the beginning, I didn't get to, but now I do. Right? You know, at least I thought I didn't, and I had that liberty. But you take it a little bit more in stride when you get a little bit more successful. Do you ever feel imposter syndrome? You know what that is?
A little bit. Give me a quick explanation on. So I hit it on the head.
So imposter syndrome is like being in a high place, right? So like being super successful, having 1,000%. A good year, and just feeling like you don't belong.
1,000%. And people, I've had conversations with people where it's like, I'm not doing enough, dude. I'm not doing things right. Shit, if I wake up after 7 a.m. in the morning, man, like I typically like to get up 6:30, get in the gym, get the day started. If I wake up, it's like past 7 a.m., I feel like I got that imposter syndrome. I'm like, fuck, I'm a failure. What am I doing? What am I doing with my time? I just screwed my whole day up. And just little things like that where it's like, it's a standard. It's just setting the bar higher, right? But absolutely, I feel like it. And it's funny too, like me and McKenna, who's my transaction coordinator is the term, and I say assistant sometimes too. I tell a lot of people she is just the all-around badass that drives behind the success of myself. And it's funny too, there's one thing that I wanted to touch on back when we were talking about entrepreneurship and her, and she is an employee of mine, but she's got the entrepreneurial spirit, and I'm like...
Entrepreneur. Entrepreneur. There's a term for it, man.
Yes, and it's the truth, and I know eventually she's going to take that route, and I'm almost kind of pushing her towards it a little bit, but
see, we can cultivate them inside of our businesses
1,000%,
and we can actually fill that void for them inside of our businesses if we post things correctly. I challenge you to try to keep her as long as you possibly can, if not forever.
I am, and she's so great. I freaking love that she works with me, and she's doing TC work, so essentially just transaction coordinating. And I told her, Ken, why, like, there's nobody in our area right now that's doing, and hopefully I don't release any secrets, but nobody's doing transaction coordinating. Why are you not doing this
on a scale? Yeah.
Hire people under you, get 10 so agents, and start making some money.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm paying you good, but I know there's got to be some
value.
Yeah, there's so much more you can do, and she's already got that spirit, and I think she's going to start rolling on that hopefully. But see, I just went on one of those tangents again. But
no, you're good, man. I got the same brain. I get it.
Imposter syndrome, absolutely, and that's setting that bar higher, right? Which again is a blessing and it's a curse at the same time. Because you set the bar higher, yeah, your goals are going to rise as you do. But we're sitting here talking, and it's like, oh, we've only got 12 houses in contract right now. We've only done 1.7 million this month in sales. Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like most people in my agency are like, you have how many in contract? Like, I don't know what I would do if I had 4 in contract. I don't know if I'd do if I had 3 in contract. Like, but it's setting that bar up higher, and it's like, then you start to get that imposter syndrome. Like, you know, feels the world falling down, but it's like you're still killing it. Exactly like you said. 2020, I would have died for this when I first started in real estate.
Yes. I'd have done some dirty things for those kind of numbers, is what I always tell myself. And
right.
How do you combat it?
A lot of the times the combating it involves, for me, it's just like going back and doing exactly what you do. Like, dude, what? Like, instead of looking where I am right now, looking at the journey where I got to where I am, right? You know, we would have killed for that, 2-3 years ago, and in 2 to 3 more years, these numbers that we're worried about right now, like, I'm worried about hitting, a certain amount of money per month. That's gonna seem like
chump change.
Yeah. Right. So just reminding myself of that, like, it's just part of the journey. It's just where I am at right now, and that's okay, because when I look back, I'm way further ahead, and when I look ahead, I'm way further. At that point, it seems like chump change. So, really getting some perspective on the future, on the past. That's how I've been combating it.
Yeah, the hardest part is, man, like, we live in our present.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have I can't promise you when it's gonna be. Mm-hmm. And I'm a big student of real estate, and I know it's probably more now, but the statistic I continue to use is we have a 5 million door shortage in the United States. And that's not changing, and it's probably growing, and we're probably closer to 6 now, because statistics I've been using for the last 2 years. And but with that all to be said, like, there's gonna become a time in your business when you'll hit a correction.
Mm-hmm. 1000%.
And when you do, if you don't have the barometer on, if you don't have if you're not checking the pulse and going, hey, you know what, we're okay still, and you're not putting checks and balances in place to do what that is, like, that's when you will fail. But as long as you have all the plans in place and you're able to take that loss that turns into an opportunity to learn, you'll be okay.
1000%. And it's all, and at this point too, it's like, you get to a point too, and I'm sure you've found it in your business too, where it's like exactly what you said, you pulled back from sales, right? You started to pull some of those things back, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm trying to pull back a little bit, and it's okay. What systems do I need to put in place now? What systems do I need to keep this thing rolling while I don't have to do as much? Right?
Exactly.
And maybe not even as much, but I don't have to do as much shit that I don't like to do. Right?
Yeah. Start to delegate.
Yes. And golly, man, as a business owner, is that hard?
Holy
shit.
Well, it's because you've done everything.
Yeah.
Right?
And nobody's going to do it better than I can.
Yep. So,
right?
You ever heard the 80-20 rule?
If somebody can do it as 80% as good as you can, then that's
turn it over to them, they'll turn it into 110.
Yep.
Every time.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a huge principle. It's a hard one to grasp, and it's always so much easier to be an armchair quarterback.
Yep.
I can consult your business a hell of a better than I can run mine. Yep. I'm serious. I can.
1,000%.
Like,
1,000%.
I tell you what to do.
Yep.
If anybody ever that I've given a conversation to about consulting, they look back and pull the curtain back at mine and go, you're not doing it. You have great ideas. Like, the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah.
But no, it's hard. Because I did bootstrap this thing, and I did do everything. I was the finance guy. I was the freaking sell. I was doing production. And for you were doing everything. You were probably transaction coordinator when you first got started. You were doing the whole kit caboodle, right? So it's hard, even that first one. Was it hard to hire the first employee?
Oh yeah. And we went rounds. And granted, Ken and me had a relationship prior to, which helped a lot too, because she could kind of tell me, hey, John, quit.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Smack the hand.
Yes. Quit doing that. That's for me to do, right? And she was very good at that. So I was blessed with that perspective too. Because if not, it probably would have been a lot more challenging.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because I would have just continued to do 90% of shit, right?
For sure. So, no, it is. It's just a hard thing in business.
Yeah.
It's delegation is super hard, especially when you've done everything, especially when you know how it should be done. And they probably know a better way to do it.
Yeah.
They're probably smarter than you.
Yeah.
Like, just
1,000%.
Because they're focusing on something. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
What was your lowest of lows?
Lowest of lows, man.
You're a young man, so.
I would say it's tough to say I really had a lowest of low. I'd say versus lowest of lows to maybe like the turning point for me was the breakup, right? Girl I was wildly crazy about, right? Like even since like elementary school and middle school, and like we tried it out a couple times and it didn't work, parents didn't, something happened, whatever, right? Finally get an opportunity after right post high school, and we start dating and cheated on me. Like first time for me, and I was a bit of a bit of a ladies' man back in my high school days, right? So I mean, I wasn't known to mess around a bit, right? And I was known to not be very relationship-y, right? And first girl, I was like head over heels, 1,000%. Like, listen, I'm gonna fucking marry you.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
you're the one I marry, and just absolutely got ripped from me, right? But it gave me so much perspective, and I'd say that was the turning point for me, man. That was truly the turning point, and I look back on it now, and like it seemed like such a horrific thing. Like, I was never gonna get past it. I was never gonna get over it, and I don't know who I would be if it didn't happen, right?
Yeah.
I truly don't know. And like I said, I got in the gym, I started working out, and that was the first step of it for me. It's like seeing, and I'm not a big guy, but I definitely wasn't back then. I was a scrawny kid. I never worked out. I was scared of the gym. I played sports. I love sports, but I was a scrawny kid, right?
Most of my bulk came after high school too.
But just seeing those results of like, holy shit. I put my head to this for 3 months, and every day I woke up and I ate the right things. I had a protein shake and I went to the gym. I took 3 steps every single day, and a result came from it that I didn't think was possible before. What else can I do?
But that's a delayed gratification thing.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's what most folks struggle with in America. Mm-hmm. I need the newest iPhone now.
And that's the beauty of real estate, man. It takes 30 days.
Ball.
It takes 30, 60, 90, 120 days sometimes before I get paid, right?
If you're selling.
If I'm selling.
If you're buying, it's worse.
Yes.
Trust me, my wife and I have a triplex right now that's just been a freaking headache. But go back to that learning thing. We're learning how to be landlords.
Yeah.
That's the beauty.
Yep.
But if you don't take that perspective, there's a lot of people. I could punt this thing right now, and I could probably make $30,000 net because we bought a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. Not going to.
No.
Playing long ball.
Yep.
But you have to know where you're going to be. You have to stick to your guns, draw the lines in the sand, and say, you know what, it's just a freaking hiccup.
And I got a similar story with the second duplex I bought, and I'm so glad I bought the duplex, and I'm so pissed I bought the duplex.
Absolutely.
Time, right? And I'm sure you got a similar situation with that.
I got 2 pieces of land in Richland County that got blocked from building on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about getting berated. You ever been berated at a zoning meeting?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
No, I haven't. I know what you're talking about, though.
No, dude, I had 40 freaking people show up. One dude, and I won't name drop, but one dude freaking acted like he was buddy till the meeting came. Couldn't even read his freaking letter. I got roasted for an hour. I walked out of there. I'm like, I'm building low-income housing on these. I got 2 lots here. I can build 4 of them without coming back to see you assholes. And I walked out of the meeting. All of a sudden, everybody wants to know how much I'm selling it for. I said, it's not for sale. I own it. It's owned outright.
Right.
I just wanted to put a roofing company on there. People were pissed because they're like, well, the traffic is going to drive. I'm like, what are you talking about? I literally asked, sorry, man. I'm
No, you're good. No, you're good.
I literally asked the room, I said, who here's been to a roofing company? Legit. Mm-hmm. One guy raises his hand. I'm like, okay. And mind you, there's like 60 freaking people in this room.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they like gave me the power to have conversations with these people. And I'm an elephant, man. Like, if you tell me something, it's a great sales trait to have. Like,
Yeah.
I'll remember shit and I'll throw it back at you. It's actually really good for our leadership too. Like, I'll throw shit back at you to be like, dude, you told me you're going to do this. Like, well, yeah, I guess I did. Anyways, he goes, I said, why were you at a roofing company, sir? I said, because I haven't had a customer stop in my office yet. So I'm really curious. Well, I already worked at one. I was like, okay, anybody that hasn't worked at a roofing company ever visited a roofing company? Nobody. And they were like, it's going to cause all this traffic, or we're worried about our kids. This was when, so this is up on 5th Ave. Uh-huh. This was when 5th Ave was getting, or when 30 was getting rebuilt, and they were driving everybody around 5th Ave to go down to 545. I was like, dude, they're having semi-trucks go down your road right now. What are you talking about? Like, you guys are morons.
Yeah.
And it's aggravating. Anyways, back to your
No, you're
story.
good. No, you're
sorry,
good, dude. And that's the funny thing about it is a lot of people will just give that precedence of it of, oh, this is what it's going to cost, but how the hell do you know that, right?
Yeah, you just don't want it.
Yeah, you just don't want it.
Just be honest.
Yeah. But the duplex I bought, second property I ever bought, bought it off one of my mentors. It's still a good buddy of mine. Like, I can't talk badly about him, you know what I mean? But I think he knew about some things about this duplex that he kept from his mentor.
Devil's in the detail?
Yeah, a little bit. Oh, you don't need inspection. Oh,
He's teaching you some lessons.
This is a cash cow for me, man, right? So, but I bought this duplex, and I mean, oh gosh, one bed, one bath on each side, right? In Galleons, back in like this little alleyway, this broken down trailer beside it. And people are like, oh my god, this guy's a slumlord, right? Only bad property I got, I mean, in my opinion. But it's not a bad property either.
It's just a D.
Yes, yeah, there we go. So I went and seen it the one time, you know, it was like $400 payments, right? Bought it for $70K. Buying a duplex for $70K, you kind of know what condition it's going to be in, right? Left side, Dude was doing math 1,000%. He's out of there now. $5,000 clean out bill for him.
Oh yeah.
$30,000 remodel. We made it another bedroom. Completely ripped everything out, subfloors, everything. He cut all the plumbing before he left. Cut all the wiring before he left.
For sure, method.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Just to be an asshole. $5,000 clean out. $30,000 rehab. Put bathrooms in the other side too, which was another $5,000 on that side. And that lady's paying $450 for me. I just got a tenant on the other side to pay me $850, I think. The $450 tenant's been there for 26 years, and she's got about 15 cats. So I still have that project to hit at some point too. And I have already sunk about 50 grand into it. Bought it for 70, and I would be lucky if it's worth 120 to 130. You know what I mean? And that's one of those projects that it's like exactly you said. Well, people are like, well, just sell it, get out of it, and just let it go. And I'm like, no, I kind of want to keep it and keep putting money into it. Just so every time I put money into it, I can look in the mirror and say, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. You're never gonna let this happen again.
Yeah.
And I will never buy a property like that ever again without doing inspections, with just trusting, somebody, with just looking at a property and seeing the money and not seeing the work behind it, and looking at a property and seeing cash flow versus appreciation, right? So it taught me so much. I'm so grateful for it, but I'm also like, God, I wish I never bought that thing.
But you know what, man? Like, that's what makes you good at what you do. Because if I come to you as somebody that wants to buy some rentals and has no idea what the hell I'm doing, now you can actually walk me through the process and go, you're not just spewing shit that you learned, and not to knock other realtors out there. Like, you got your thing, do your thing, I'm all about it. Like, I could go on some tangents about some of the just the basis around real estate, I guess, from a real estate agent's perspective, and I'm sure you could too. And not that we want to knock anybody, but like, what I'd read the statistic the other day that 98% of realtors sell less than one house a year, and things like that. And it's a true statistic. Like, I'm not just making shit up.
Right.
Because the whole thing was an ad, and it said if you were happy with who you had, and they're still doing it when you go to sell, you got a 2%er, and things like that. But hey, do your thing, whatever you want to do. But when you have somebody that's a professional, that is a practitioner, go back to that thing about the freaking college professors, right? I'm learning from somebody that's done.
Yeah.
Not somebody that's just reading and trying to explain. They've done.
Yeah.
And you can lead me through the process a little bit better.
Well, you know what's funny about that too is when I take people to see duplexes, like I caught myself doing it with Kate. You know what I mean? Like, well, the property that I bought, when I did this, when I bought this property, I did this. When I had this property, this is kind of what I did, and this is what went wrong with this one. And I'm like, do I sound kind of condescending, like telling them about what I did with all my properties? But it's a great point, because it's like, I'm not just telling you what I think, right? What I think will work, how I think you'll cash flow. It's like, no, I know it because I've done this. I know it because here's the calculators. Let's put all your stuff in. Let's look at what it looks like, right?
Yeah, let's do the math. Numbers don't lie.
No, they don't. And that's a great point. Like, you really can teach somebody how you've done it, because you've already done it.
Educating.
Right? Yes, yeah. You're educating based on experience and not by
what you took in a freaking continuing education course.
Right.
Of somebody that owns one property that happens to be a property inspector and giving you a CEU course.
Exactly. Well, it's the same thing too. Like, my inspector says all the time, I love my main inspector. He's actually a Columbus guy.
Okay.
First guy that did an inspection for me. Me and him got a great relationship, and he always hypes me up when we're at inspections too. But he tells people a lot of times, he's like, 90% of agents, they don't come to inspections.
Absolutely.
And most of the time when I'm going through a house and I'm showing somebody a house and I'm showing all the specifics, the little intricacies that I'm telling them, hey, your panel's, well, this is a Federal Pacific panel, you're going to have to replace the safety hazard, it's going to get called out, you're going to get called out by loans.
On an FHA.
The only reason I know that is because my inspector told me. The only reason I know that this window seal is bad, because, whatever, the little things, is because of my inspector, because I took the time to learn right, from experience, and not just say, oh, I think, let me ask somebody, or, you know what I mean? It just made me a better agent too.
But I mean, that's the same for us. Like, when we go out and sell roofs, we're the largest residential metal installer in the state of Ohio.
Say that again for the people that didn't.
We're the largest residential metal installer in the state of Ohio, which is great, right? And I can go throw that around all I want. Mm-hmm. But when I can go to you and say, hey, this is the exact same roof I put on my grandma's house, on my mom's house, on my dad's house. Okay, now I got to sit around Thanksgiving dinner with those folks.
Right.
I believe in this shit. Yeah. I'm not just selling you. What's the old Tommy Boy quote? I could put a freaking a warranty or a guarantee on a piece of shit that's still gonna be a piece of shit. It's the same thing. Same thing for you. You're not just telling folks, hey, this is what I think. You're telling folks, this is what I've done.
Yeah.
And there's so much more validity in that for the average bear. And I think to wrap that up, if for somebody that wants to be a professional out there, be a doer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be part of what you are.
1,000%.
and stop selling from a place, or selling such a dirty word, but it's what you're doing.
And it is. Well, and I say a lot of times I really am not. I'm not selling anybody. I'm not selling anybody on. A lot of times I tell people I'm not selling though. I'm not a salesman, and we talked about that a little bit at the beginning. I truly am helping people. Like, I'm not selling you on the house you want. I'm not telling you, oh, but these, you don't like these floors? Yeah, no, you should like these floors. These are not these, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm saying, oh, you don't like these floors? Okay, cool.
It's fine.
Maybe the next one will be nicer. Or you can rip them up, you can do this, you can do that. Here's the pros, here's the cons.
Here's some options.
Yeah, make your decision. I tell people a lot of times, I'm not a salesman, and more or less, I'm an advisor. You know what I mean? I'm not telling you what you should do. I have people tell me, well, what should I do? I'll
give a shit what you do.
Yeah, I'll give you the pros, I'll give you the cons, I'll tell you what maybe I would do, but I'm not going to dictate your decisions for you on something this big. This is a decision for you to make. I'm here to advise you. And some clients take that and run with it. Some clients are like, hey, I'm here to advise you. I think the house is worth $100. And they're like, we'll list it for $125. I'm like, okay, whatever. And some people are like, I trust what you say. We're going to go with what you want to do. You know what I mean? So it's not a sales point. It's not a perspective of being a salesman, just being an advisor and being something that's there to help them and show them the way and show them the specifics of positives and negatives and what will happen if you take this route, what will happen if you take this route, what's most beneficial for you and your family, and what's going to cause you the most happiness for you and your family.
Absolutely.
I don't care if you buy, I don't care if I show you 100 houses and you end up buying a $40,000 house. If it's better for you and your family, awesome. I don't care if I show you one house and you buy an $800,000 house. If it's better for you and your family, awesome. That's the goal, right? So I tell people a lot. I'm not a salesman. You know,
I'm just here to provide a solution.
I'm just here to provide a solution and advise you on what I think is best, right?
I love it.
So,
and that's what's made you successful, man. And you know, I'll as we get closer to wrapping up here, and we could talk for, I feel like
I think so too.
I'll do it by that part too, but you know, I kind of give the last little bit of the episode. If there's anything we didn't talk about that you want to share, this is your opportunity. There
is one more thing. That's a quick story, and it comes with the success. It comes with being in Mansfield, and it comes with being authentic, right? Here I am.
I got a friend that's got a podcast called Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out.
I love it.
I've been on it a couple times. I've been on it once.
And authenticity is one of my core values, man. I've got 3 core values, and authenticity is one of them. And I try to be as true to me with every, no matter what room I'm in, right? And that is part of the reason I had another agent, and she's an awesome agent. I was talking to her about starting a team, right? She's a team in the area, and she's telling me, like, John, I challenge you to put a nice sport coat on one day, put some slacks on, put some dress shoes on, and go try to get that $700,000 listing or that $1 million listing. Try to change your demographic that you're working with. And I was like, I'll get $700,000 listings, but I'll do it in a damn sold hoodie, okay? Because that's who I am. And I'm not going to change who I am for somebody else, because then I am selling,
exactly.
Right? Then I am selling to somebody. Then I'm not being authentic.
You're being true.
I'm being true. And we said it again, if you don't like who I am truly, we probably are not going to be a good fit anyways. And I encourage anybody out there, be you. Be 100 authentically, unapologetically exactly who you are. And believe me, you're going to be successful, because the people that come to you are going to be the ones that are just like you, right?
People buy real.
People buy real, exactly. They don't want to buy an image. They don't want to buy fake. But if I show up in a suit and tie and I present to you this very proper presentation on what I'm going to do for your house, and there's still professionalism to it, right? And I'm still professional. I'll still put on faces for certain.
I can be professional in a pair of jeans.
Exactly though. I don't need to be somebody I'm not, just to get your business, and if I am, then probably not business I'm going to want to deal with anyways. And I've sold the $700,000, $800,000 houses, and a lot of them have been in the sold hoodie. Yes. They're in the sold shirt. It's like, I don't have to be this prim and proper guy just to have success in this business. And that's what I love about Mansfield too. That's just who we are, Mansfield, man. We, you go down to Columbus. I don't know, maybe wouldn't have as much success doing that in Columbus, right?
But people in Columbus don't get along too well.
But that's just something I know I wanted to dive into today too. Is like being just authentically you, no matter what. And I know we kind of we skimmed around it, right?
We were grazing it a little bit, and I would agree, man. I had a guy ask me on a podcast. I used to have a mullet, and he goes, "Man, I've noticed." And we were good friends, so he kind of knew the ins and outs of the business. But he goes, "I noticed that the longer the mullet gets, the more successful you got." And it's that exact principle. I tell people all the time, I have enough friends. Mm-hmm. I do.
Yeah.
I do. My wife's my only friend. I'll be honest with you. Like, I've got a lot of family that are friends. I don't, and I have a lot of friends that are all over the country, and I'm sure you and I will end up being friends, and that's great.
Right.
I have enough friends. I'm not here to make friends. Mm-hmm. I'm here to provide you with solutions. And yeah, I threw on a polo today. The freaking audience is probably, what the hell's wrong with Dylan? You going to court? You know, and no, it's just what I happened to pull out of the closet today. But this is like the most dressed up you're going to find me. Don't get me wrong. I like to look nice. I throw on, you know, we go out to dinner nice with my wife. I'll put on a nice button up and a sport coat.
1,000%.
Look good. I'll probably be wearing a pair of jeans and a pair of tennis shoes. That's who I am.
Right.
And yeah, if I was the guy that was wearing suits, that's me. Mm-hmm. It's okay. Whatever that is, it's okay to be you.
Yes.
But you should be you. Stop trying to be somebody else. There's enough of, you know, there's already one of those people. There's only one of you.
Yeah, yeah. And you're trying to be somebody that you're not for somebody else's opinion or somebody else's satisfaction, who really, to be honest, they don't give a shit. They really don't. You know, I seen this quote the other day that says you have 1,000 different versions of yourself with everybody else around you. Like, everybody has a different version of you. But who gives a shit at the end of the day? Like,
Yes.
if you feel happy in yourself, and I think that's one thing about real estate that's made me so happy, because I for one of the first times in my life, like, I am me.
Yes.
I am 1,000% me, and if you don't like it,
it's okay.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, it's not that I don't like you. It's just, it's okay. That's fine. That's all right. If you think I'm corny, if you don't like the videos, cool.
Yeah.
And sometimes they are corny, but hell, they're a blast to make, man.
And if you're having fun, that's what matters.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, that's what really matters, man. And yeah, I appreciate you for being authentic. I appreciate you for being John. I appreciate you for sitting down today.
Dude, absolutely.
You know, like I said, we're gonna have to do a part 2.
We got you. Hey, you tell me, man. I'm always down. We're gonna have to get you on the Dream Huge podcast.
I'm absolutely there for it, man.
Yeah.
And, no, I appreciate you for coming on today. And you know, hey, as we wrap up things, whoo! Hour and 20 minutes. I'm looking at the clock right now. Holy shit! There was a lot in an hour and 20, and like I said, we could have gone for another 3.
Yeah.
If you got something out of today, though, shoot us a share, give us a like, share it with somebody that needs to hear it. Like, there is someone out there in your circle that needs to hear something that we talked about today. You want a recap? I'll give it to you. Being authentic, being true to yourself. You want some basic sales principles, or just kind of want an inside look behind the curtain a little bit on what sales is? Here you are. And what real sales is. I don't think that, I think there are a lot of people that are selling, but they ain't selling shit. Or just, you know, living life and overcoming adversity and becoming who you are. I think there is so much to dissect here. So, you know, just keep going about your business, man. And if you're looking for a little bit of insight, this is it. But keep asking yourself, what's your why? It's a wrap.
Beautiful, brother.
Good, man.
My man.
That was really good.
Appreciate it, dude.
I appreciate it.
That was a blast.
No, seriously, it was really good.